Hi, my name is Gabrielle. Hi, my name is Gabrielle Milch, and today I would like to tell you a story about a man who claimed he couldn't grow anything in Florida's sandy soils. He tried to grow grass, he tried to grow vegetables and trees, and he had very few areas in his yard that he was very happy with. And so his plants would often start off okay and turn for the worst. Does this sound like a problem that you have? There is so much information and ways to get answers about gardening in Florida. One of the ways that we're going to talk about today is doing a soil pH test. We have a sample right here, and also you can do other types of tests. You can do soil tissue tests or more nutrient tests at Gainesville at the UF IFAS Extension Soils Laboratory, and we have forms on file on the internet that you can look at and fill out and submit. So today we will be talking about the pH test, and that pH test can be done at the local extension office, and you will get the results in 1 to 2 weeks. This information can be very helpful for you in making landscape decisions and what kind of plants that you would like to grow. So pH level is one factor to consider and will also help you indicate if you're having current growing problems and you might have put the wrong plant in the wrong place or inherited that problem from someone else. There are several variables that we will discuss later in this presentation that you will need to understand to help you grow things better. So bringing a soil sample to our office will be helpful because we have trained Master Gardener volunteers that will be able to help answer other questions about your gardening problems. Also, our plant clinic is open 5 days a week from 9 to 4, and we have a microscope and other resources that can be helpful in answering your gardening questions. Your soil will be sampled on a pH meter that is very accurate and kept calibrated by our volunteers every time they do the sampling session. You can take and bring in a sample into our office, and that's a good way to get more information. There are also other simple pH type strips that you can use to get a pH reading from your soil, and those can be purchased in the stores but are not as accurate as and give you as good of results as we can in our office. So once the test is done, you'll get a call from one of our Master Gardener volunteers, and they will discuss with you your results and some of your options, and you'll be able to ask more questions and get some answers at that time. So the objective for our class today is going to be about why is soil sampling important, also what you need to know about your soil, and also what are the limitations of knowing your soil's pH, as well as how to take a soil sample itself. So let's begin. Testing your soil can give you a better understanding of the existing growing conditions and limitations in your yard. Doing a soil assessment in your yard will help you make better decisions with your plant selection and also better choices on how to care for your plants that you have. This information about your soil will help you grow plants better and enable to allow you to provide proper conditioning of your soil, and you'll learn about that and how to apply proper nutrition. So soil testing is not an exact science, but it can be a great tool and help you with maintenance and keeping your plants healthy. So soil types in your yard can vary for many reasons. Many urban soils have problems with pH, and these problems stem from happened when construction activities occurred, and also soil compaction, chemical residues that have been left from previous plants, and also much of the soil in people's lots was excavated from the stormwater management pond prior to the construction of their neighborhood, and those were urban soils. So native soils are rare in the urban areas, and many people who live in the same area and who have been conditioning their soils occasionally will have to come in and get a soil sample when they're having problems growing grass or different problems. The urban land soil can be difficult to grow turf in, or to grow vegetables and other landscape plants. So soil amendments or top dressing with the soil's organic and inorganic supplements will improve the physical, chemical, and biological properties of your soil, as well as the nutrient holding capacity and drainage and your soil's biota. So what do you need to know about your soil? Evaluating the soil and the other conditions in your yard is a very valuable lesson. Whether you're growing grass or vegetables, landscape plants, it can be very important. So soil testing and plant tissue testing gives you the information to make important decisions. Knowing your soil's pH helps you to make better plant choices because the soil is the home of your plant's roots, and plant roots absorb the major nutrients and micronutrients that they need. It is best that your soil pH range match the plant's nutritional requirements to grow and to flower and to set fruits. Nutritional deficiencies in major elements such as nitrogen and phosphorus, or the trace elements, potassium, calcium, aluminum, magnesium, iron, manganese, zinc, and boron, are all influenced by the soil's pH with their absorption by those roots. The pH reading of the soil will help you to determine the availability of these plant nutrients, and also will help you to supplement them and get your plants to grow better. Plants may show signs of nutrient deficiency and toxicity when the pH of the plant is not compatible. Soils in your yard often vary in the organic content and pH. The pH is the measure of the soil's acidity or alkalinity, based on a range of 0 to 14, being that 7 is neutral, and below 7 is an acidic or sour soil, and greater than 7 is an alkaline or sweet soil. So too much acid in the soil can cause plants to have aluminum or manganese toxicity, or also deficiencies in the absorption of phosphorus, magnesium, calcium, or molybdenum. Too much lime can also cause micronutrient deficiencies and reduce plant growth. Too high or too low of a pH will also change the soil's microbiology and cause problems in your plants. Most plants can live in a wide range of soils between 5.5 and 7. pH is not the only factor to consider when determining what plants to grow or what is the problem with the plants that you already have. Determining what the problems are and how to fix the situations with your plant's health when you have problems like leaf and bud drop, certain pests and insects, funguses or molds are very difficult to determine. One way of changing your pH is adding lime to neutralize the acidity, or adding sulfur to increase the acidity. And these activities are best done when there's no plant material between the additives and the soils. So adding these chemicals as a top dressing when the plants are present can cause additional health problems to the plants. And sometimes simply just changing factors like your watering times or amount of light or the way you care for your plants can be much more beneficial than these additives. Other factors like knowing your water source or watering the correct amount, also understanding the plant's fertilization needs and how to apply it appropriately, also about the proper timing for plant pest control and airflow of the growing area is critical. In your yard, the soil you will collect will give you information about different areas in your yard. Also, areas in your yard that usually can grow pine trees are typically acidic and will grow acid-loving plants quite equally. Also, areas where there are coastal soils or ridge soils can be alkaline due to limestone, marl, or seashells, and other from another geological time will grow plants that like alkaline soils. So what was your neighborhood before you were there, and what type of plants were grown in those areas is a lot of how the native soils would be determined. but also how was the land modified when they built your home. So what are the limitations of knowing about your soil's pH? So when you're growing grass as well as vegetables, this adding lime to reduce the acidity of the soil may take time, and it may be, you might not even see an effect from it. People have gotten in the habit of adding lime to their soils over the years and have brought that concept from the north to Florida. Also, knowing when your pH is when you're growing grass is important, because to modify the soil before you put down the turf grass by adding calcitic or dolomitic lime to the soil will take about 6 months reactionary time for supplement to be maximized and have its effect on the soil's acidity. If a more immediate effect is desired, you may have to hire someone to apply hydrated lime, because it can be harmful for your grass if you do this improperly. So some lime requirements may not be determined by a simple pH test, and that you may need to also have a sample set up to the UF lab or an additional or another lab. No liming is required for soil pHs within the 6.0 to 7.0 range. The soil pH will not tell you what specific species of plants to select in your yard, but will help you become more aware of when you're selecting plants in your yard to look at those ranges that that plant can grow and thrive in. It is a good idea to be sure that you read up on the plants that you're going to pick to grow in your yard. And so knowing the pH will not prevent you from having other problems in your yard related to gardening practices such as overwatering, not treating pests properly, or lack of proper light. The pH reading will not help you learn how to take care of your plants properly. Another limitation of knowing your soil pH is that it may not be able to sustain that pH range for the existing plants that you have in your yard. You may be growing the wrong plant in the wrong place. Changing the pH of your yard is difficult and takes time. A better solution may be to select plants that grow well in the existing pH, and if possible, not possible, you can modify that soil pH at the time of a changeover of a turf grass, or also when you're planting a vegetable garden or ornamental plants. That's the ideal. If you're unable to change the plants in your yard and need to modify your pH, it's not an easy task. So how do you take the soil sample? In order to have a reliable results from your soil test, the soil test must be taken correctly, and some of the items that you're going to need is you will have to have a plastic bucket, and you're going to collect the soil in about 10 to 14 different areas in your yard with a trowel like this, and you will dig a hole 6 inches down into the soil, grab the soil out, put it into the bucket, and collect it up in the bucket. You will also want to dry that soil after you've collected it, and put it in a plastic baggie before you bring it in, like this. And you'll need about 1 cup of soil that we'll need to be able to do the soil sample. And you're going to use a Sharpie marker to write your name on the bag, and also some type of indicator of where that soil sample, front yard, backyard, or where it was taken. So then, once you have the soil samples, you're going to bring them in, and you are going to spread the soil. We will spread the soil on a newspaper or grocery sack, and we're going to allow that soil to dry before we put it into a cup and use it with our soil probe, our pH meter. So once dry, we'll take and monitor that soil, and we'll write down the results, and then we will give you a call. So one thing about doing a soil sample is you're going to have to remember to give yourself enough time in your gardening project to get that soil sampling done and bring it in and get those results, because it could take 1 to 2 weeks to get the results back. And then if you're going to modify the soil by adding lime or sulfur or other things, adding lime or sulfur to those new planting areas, you need to give yourself enough time to work that product into the soil, and also it's going to have time to take effect. And it is cited in the literature that changes in the pH can take up to 6 months, and you should retest after that 6 months to verify that the soil pH was changed. The objective of this lesson was the following. We went over why is soil testing important, and we talked about the factors about how the land, your soil is in your yard. Also, what do you need to know about your soil? And also, what are the limitations of knowing your soil's pH, as well as simple instructions of how to take a soil sample. So I want to thank you very much for listening to me today, and I hope that you learned something valuable about soil testing and pH, and thank you and have a great day.